Well, it looks like you have found yourself square in the middle, actually the beginning, of Season 2, Episode number 12 of the Gospelovergimmicks podcast, where today we ask the question, what will following Christ cost you? Let's get after it. Hello and welcome to Season 2, Episode number 12 of the Gospelovergimmicks podcast. I'm your host, Richard Stormer Norman, here to tell you everything I know and some things I highly suspect. Today we're going to be talking about relationships again. They're not in the context of marriage. We've done that in the last 2 weeks. Or actually, no, we didn't do an episode last week, but 2 weeks prior to that. We're done with marriage for a while. We'll come back to that one some other time. That was difficult, man. That's why the podcast was late. Some difficult, heavy stuff there. But a friend of mine recently posted a meme on her timeline that said, I'm paraphrasing here, "Be the woman God wants you to be, no matter what it costs." And I was perusing the comments, and she had a friend on there, and I guess they were like talking about relationships and whatnot. And her friend was kind of like, "Well, why would being a Christian cost you anything?" As if, there's nothing different to you. I guess that's what most of the world thinks anyway. So once you become a Christian, there's really nothing different about you. You're just a Christian now. It's not really how it's supposed to be. But anyway, that's the topic of today's episode. Will following Jesus cost you anything? Mainly, will it cost you relationships with people? That's what we're going to go about. But before we get into that, how y'all doing? No episode last week. I know I released the previous week's episode almost a week late, but we didn't have a new episode last week. And, feeling a little bit rusty. But revival was good. Just constantly, Brother Reese came in and preached, just knocked it out of the park. He preached a message, oh, that's good, and he preached a message the next night, and oh, that's even better, and then, oh, it was even better, and it just kept getting better. I love revival. And then, worked all that overtime at work, which produced a nice paycheck, I will say, which is why I was able to get a new Bible. But now, thank God that's over with. We had our building dedication at work, and all the big ups, all the higher up people were pretty impressed with the way the property looked. So my boss let us go home an hour early on Friday because we've been doing such a good job and working so hard. So that was nice. But yeah, I'm honest with you. I'm glad that overtime is over with. So next week's episode will be the Bible study for Ecclesiastes, chapter number 5. And technically, it's the October Bible study. We know that. But technically, next week when the podcast comes out, it'll be November. Like November 2nd, 3rd, something like that. But we're still going to call it October Bible study. It ain't my fault that October ends on Wednesday, So that'll be next week. Speaking of November, next week at some point, I will also post the November Bible. Wait a minute, I skipped over something. No, I didn't. I'll post the Bible giveaway for November next weekend, I think. I don't know, but it'll be in November. Yeah, it'll probably be up. I'll probably put it up next weekend for the November Bible giveaway. Last one of the year. Also, I posted a thing on the Facebook page where you can ask me a question. Because on the last episode of the season, which would be December 1st, I want to do a question and answer episode. So y'all can put your question on. Nobody's done it yet. I put it up yesterday or the day before. And I'm recording this on Thursday. I put it up, I think, Tuesday, but I'm not sure. Nobody's commented any questions on it. But that's kind of how I figured it would go. Y'all probably even know it's there. But it's there. If you want to go ask me a question. It can be a Bible-related question. Like something that's in the Bible. It can be a question about Bibles. Because y'all know I have a bunch of them. Maybe you guys want to know what to look for in a good Bible that's going to last you a long time. Because them cheap ones you buy from Walmart or the Christian bookstore or whatnot, with the bonded leather. And I know people always say, well, it don't matter, what kind of Bible you got. It's the Word of God. I understand that, but if you're like me, you put notes, you underline, you highlight, and you want that thing to last a while, don't you? And them cheap ones that you buy from like Walmart and stuff, they're good. They'll get the job done, okay? I'm not down on them at all. But they ain't going to last you too long. So, I don't know, I'm getting off on it. But you can ask me about Bible, doctrine, anything in the Bible. You can ask me about the physical Bible itself. You can ask me anything, really. If you got a question about what's it like to do a podcast, like what goes into it and whatnot, anything you want to ask. So that post is up on the Facebook page. If you want to go ask a question, you got a month, right? Yeah, a little over a month until the season finale. So now, before we get into today's topic, let me play this ad I made for the Fall Festival one last time, because by the time this podcast goes up, probably too late for you to go to Fall Festival. But put a lot of work into this ad, so we're going to play it one more time. Fall is in the air, and you know what that means. Every church within a 50-mile radius of you is going to be having a fall festival. But if you want to go to the best one, then I suggest you come to Grace Missionary Baptist Church on Saturday, October 27th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. A trunk or treat will start at 2 p.m. There will be a chili cook-off and lots of fun for the kids and everyone, really. That's Grace Missionary Baptist Church, 4411 Springbank Road, Green Cove Springs, Florida 32043. But that's not all. If you come back the next day, you can help us break our attendance record at our Pack-A-Pew service on Sunday, October 28th. Dinner will be on the grounds after the morning service, and if you've ever been to a Baptist church when there was dinner on the grounds afterward, then you don't want to miss that, okay? So come help us break our attendance record on October 28th, and if you went to the Fall Festival the day before, you'll already know how to get there. But it's Grace Missionary Baptist Church, 4411 Springbank Road, Green Cove Springs, Florida 32043. That is the road right next to the Clay County Fairgrounds for the Fall Festival on October the 27th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. and our Pack-A-Pew service Sunday, October 28th. Service starts at 11 a.m. So we all know the world loves Christians, right? I mean, as soon as you become a Christian, they throw you a party, they invite you over for dinner. I mean, that happened to you, right? It happened to me. It happened to you, right? When you became a Christian? Of course not. In fact, with each passing year, the world grows more and more intolerant and downright hateful of Christians. It don't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. So there is absolutely no reason to think that when you get saved that you're going to be able to keep all the relationships you had prior. Not everybody's going to stick around. The Bible even tells us that following Christ is going to cost you some things. Luke 14:26. 26 through 28. If any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and wife and children and brethren and sisters, yea, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. And whosoever doth not bear his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. For which of you, intending to build a tower, sitteth not down first, and counteth the cost, whether he have sufficient to finish it? Some people read verse 26 there and get a little bit confused. They read that part about hating your mom and dad and your brother and sister, and you're like, Jesus wants me to hate my family? That's not the point he's making. He's making the point that as much as you love your family and your friends and, whatnot, you love him more. He is top priority above everything else. That's what that verse says. That means if your mama, who you love dearly, is trying to get you to do something contrary to Jesus, or trying to get you not to follow Jesus, Jesus takes priority over her, no matter how much you love your mama. You can kind of see where that is going to lead regarding your worldly relationships. John 15. This is my new Bible I got. I put a video up on the Facebook page if y'all want to go check it out. John 15, 18, and 19. If the world hate you, you know that it hated me before it hated you. If he were of the world would love his own. But because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. And then we're going to go to 1 John 3:13. Marvel not, my brethren, if the world hate you. So Jesus already told us 2,000 years ago how the world was going to react to us becoming Christians. So how much worse do you think it's going to be in 2018? Back then everybody was religious. Nowadays people think you're an idiot if you're religious. The thing about your worldly relationships is they are worldly. Yeah. So unbelievers, they're not living for God. It's not, not rocket science. So the things that are important to them are no longer important to you. If you're saved, if you, born again Christian, then, you don't do the same things you used to do. If you do, then you probably ain't a born again Christian. They like to live in sin. You no longer want to live in sin. They want to spend all their time doing whatever they want. And you want to do things like go to church, read your Bible, pray, maybe evangelize. It's not the same as what they want to do. That's not to say that, Christians can't have fun. I'm not saying you can't go camping or go on vacation or, go watch a movie or whatever, go bowling. I'm not saying you can't do those things as a Christian. I'm just saying your priorities have changed. Like people have Sunday fun day. They want to, pack up the boat and go to the lake for today. Christians want to go to church. At least I would hope they would. When Jesus comes into your heart, he drastically changes you. And it is going to cause some people around you to get distant. Yes. So I have a friend, and met her when I was 25 years old. I'm 38 now. So it was a long time ago. And we've been close friends ever since then. Like, one of those people you can just talk to about anything kind of situation. And we kind of went in two different directions. Because she considers herself bisexual. And she's really into the whole gay pride thing and all this and that. And whatever. I ain't judging her for that. But I got right with God about 5 years ago, give or take. I got saved when I was 17. Got away from God. got right with God about 5 years ago, and I started getting in the Word and started wanting to live, for God. Obviously, well, me and her that kind of caused it, because she's all gay pride, this and that, all about sin and stuff like that, and I'm trying to live right. So that when we still talk sometime, but it ain't like it used to be. It ain't like it used to be. Jesus makes people feel uncomfortable. Just saying his name around people gets people, it gets a reaction out of people, don't it? If you don't believe me, go somewhere, a bunch of people you don't know, like a crowd of people you don't know, and just be like, oh, Jesus sure is good, or something like along those lines, and just saying his name make people uncomfortable. I mean, how great is our Savior when just mentioning his name convicts people? They know they're wrong. They know they're wrong. They want to keep living in a lie, though. Romans 2:15, which show the work of the law written in their hearts, their conscience also bearing witness, and their thoughts the mean while accusing or else excusing one another. Their conscience bearing witness. People know they're wrong. Where'd my Mountain Dew go? People know they're in the wrong. So you get saved, you start coming around talking about Jesus and church and Bible and Scripture and whatnot. They ain't gonna like that, because they already know they're wrong. And like I said, just mentioning Jesus' name convicts people. But one thing that is true about sin is that when a person sins, they'd rather do it with other people. Ain't that the truth? I bet you can think back before you got saved and be like, oh, I sure do love going to the club with my friends. You didn't go to the club by yourself, though, did you? Probably not too much. You probably wanted somebody to go with you. Because sin is more fun when you got other people to sin with. It helps to justify it. Once you become a Christian and you no longer desire to sin, not saying you don't sin. Don't get me wrong. I'm never going to say that a Christian never sins. But you don't desire to sin. So once you no longer desire to sin to somebody who that's what they want to do and they want somebody to do it with, you're not much good to them now, because you won't go and sin with them. None of this is to say that you can't have unsaved friends. The ones closest to you are the ones you have the best chance of evangelizing. I got lost friends. I got lost friends that are not lost anymore. I just kept praying for them and talking to them, and they got saved. So see, you can keep your unsaved lost friends and bring them, get them to the Lord and get them right. Just remember what I said earlier about who is priority number one, though. Don't let your unsaved friends damage your testimony by dragging you into sin. It's like, hey, you want to go to the strip club? You don't go like, oh, well, I guess I better go or they won't be my friend no more. No, I don't think so. James 4:4. Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with God? Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is an enemy of God. So just think of this whole thing like two things, that's four, two things that go together. An ice cube and a freezer. Y'all, metaphors are my thing, so just roll with it, okay? An ice cube and a freezer. Ice needs freezing temperatures. Freezer provides freezing temperatures, so they work well together. However, now you got saved, and instead of being a freezer, now you're a boiling pot of water. ICE ain't going to like that. It ain't going to want to be around that. So, I know it's a silly metaphor. Just roll with it, okay? Sinners want to be around other sinners. That's just the way it is. I'm not saying that your unsaved friends ain't going to want to hang out with you and whatnot, and be your friend. They're not all going to run off and leave you when you get saved. But the friends that leave, let them go. The ones that stay, give them the gospel and love them. You're supposed to love people. Show them the change Jesus has made in your life so that they'll want Him to change them too. Also remember that no matter how close your friends and family are to you, Jesus is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. So, and when it all boils down to, you don't need them anyway. You got Jesus. But it's okay to have lost, unsaved, worldly friends. Just maintain boundaries, and don't let them drag you into sin. That's going to do it for today's episode. I appreciate y'all watching or listening, whichever one you're doing. Don't forget to be back here next week for the Bible study in Ecclesiastes chapter 5. I believe that's what it is. I need to go back and check the winner and make sure that is the correct book and chapter. But I believe it is. So we'll be doing Ecclesiastes chapter 5 unless I'm wrong, and then it'll be something else. I know it's in Ecclesiastes. There's a lot of S's in that word. Ecclesiastes. That'll be next week. Hopefully I get it done in time. And you can follow us on Facebook. Is that a thing? You can like us on Facebook. That's the thing. Facebook.com/gospelovergimmicks. You can go there and you can find the post for the Q&A episode coming up in a little over a month. And you can put your question on there. And I like to get about 3 to 5 questions. And we'll answer them on that episode of the podcast. You got plenty of time. You can follow us on Instagram at gospelovergimmicks. I actually did the update this week. I don't know if you follow me on Instagram. You probably should. But I actually did the update this week. You can also follow us on Twitter at GXG_ministries. And I post, the podcast gets posted automatically to the Twitter page, but other than that I don't do a whole lot on there. If you got a question about something I said, an idea for a topic you'd like me to cover, or if you want to know more about how to be saved, any reason you can think of, you need to email me, gospelovergimmicks@gmail.com is how you can do that. Of course, you could always go to the Facebook page and message me there too, whichever one works for you. I've had this email address since like February, January, maybe before that. So it's been like 10-11 months I've had this email address, and not one single person's emailed me. Everybody's like, you gotta get an email address for your podcast. Okay, well I better do that then. And I got it. It's like, well, what was the point of this? I mean, I do use it for other things, but it wasn't as big a deal as everybody made it out to be. Anyhow, that's the email. If you want to become a donor, a monthly donor, or you could probably donate one time if you wanted to. I think that's an option on there. You can do that. We have one. Her name is Joanna Garrett. She donates to the ministry here, and I truly appreciate that. What am I thinking of? Patreon.com/gospelovergimmicks. You're correct if that's what your guess was. Patreon.com/gospelovergimmicks. You can donate $1 a month if you want to. I mean, whatever you want to donate. To help the ministry, help me cover shipping when someone wins a Bible and I have to ship it, or when I have to buy Bibles for the giveaway, when I have to pay my subscriptions for podcast hosting and editing software, and all that good stuff. You know, I'll pay for it myself, and I'm perfectly okay with paying for it myself. But if y'all want to help, that's how you help. And if you want to see us expand in other areas, that's how you see it. That's how you help us expand. So appreciate the person who gives, and I hope we get some more. That's going to do it. I'm going to go edit this thing. Till next time, take up your cross, carry on.